And now I'm pleased to introduce today's speaker. It's my honor to introduce Reverend Beth Yates. She began her journey as a student and teacher of metaphysics in her early teens, and her journey continues till this day. She attended the chapel as a teenager and grew up in the Memorial Spiritualist Church in Norfolk. Her initial studies in spiritualism paved the way for a deeper exploration of metaphysics and the natural and universal laws. Beth is an ordained minister through the Church of Wisdom and a certified medium. She has served the Spiritualist Community as a speaker locally and nationally through the NSAC organization. Her ongoing studies at Delphi University have further enriched her understanding and expanded her repertoire of metaphysical methods. And I'll introduce you to Beth here. Thank you, Reverend Yates.
Move the direction of that fan. Just in a different direction. Yeah, thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Wow. We have to replace the angel. The angel fell off of her perch. She was just lying around. I didn't know that angels slept. They say angels don't sleep. Wow. Can you believe it? 10 days till Santa Claus comes. 10 days. And thinking on that, I kind of revisited some of my own childhood memories. The first Christmas, well, first, let me just say this. My mom loved to decorate for Christmas, and my mom went all out. And we never had the same decorations twice. Nothing was ever coordinated the same way twice in all of the years that I remember things. Well, back in the day, I used to walk to school and walk home from school quite a ways. And I remember I was 6 years old, walking home from school, and there's my house, and there is a Christmas tea party on our front porch. My mom had incorporated this, one of those big plastic Santa Clauses that you plug in and it lights up, along with the table that sat on the porch and the porch chairs, and the dolls from my sister and I. They were having a tea party with Santa. And she had also wrapped the columns with the red ribbon, so it was candy cane. I mean, it was just glorious. 6 years old, Christmas was here. And that's one of my favorite memories of being a child at Christmas time. Well, throughout the house, Mom would decorate to a point, wait for us kids to go to bed, and then she would finish said decorations. And do you remember the trees? They probably still have them, but I haven't had a live tree for so long, where it looked like they were a hand stuck out, and they had the short little spiky things on them, the needles on them. Thank you. And so, and the arms came out, and then you'd go up a little bit further, and there were some more arms, but it was never like a triangular tree. It was amazing what she would do with these trees. So Daddy first had to have the tree in the stand watered so the trees could drop. I mean, the branches could drop out. We didn't want it to, so it had to hydrate, 24 hours at least. And then Mom would bring out the ornaments, and we could put the ornaments, and we could put them not only on the edges, but further back. Fun stuff, right? Great memories. But the magic of Christmas for us was Santa Claus put the tinsel on the tree. We didn't have tinsel on our tree till we woke up Christmas morning. That made it so magical. but there was a reason for this. Remember that old-timey heavy tinsel that your grandparents or your parents would have put on strand by strand? Daddy patiently made sure every strand was individual. And it was easier to do without a lot of help. I can't imagine. So, that was the magic of Christmas. Well, that was the last year that we were in the big house. We moved so that I wouldn't have to walk so far to school, nor my brothers and other siblings. But what we did was we moved into a smaller house, and when Mom redecorated this particular year, she included on the mantelpiece with her nativity scene and the candles and the angel and that fluffy stuff. I guess it was cotton batting or whatever, and so she made it look like it was wintertime in the Middle East. And the angel. And my grandmother had gifted my parents this mid-century modern clock with all the spikes that go out. So when it hung on the wall, it looked like a star. So there was the star with the wire coming down plugged in, because it wasn't battery operated, back to the back. But I can remember so easily that there was this star over the angel and over the nativity creche. And it was beautiful. And I could barely see it, but I could see it. I was always sure. Well, it just added to the mystery of Christmas as well, because there was deeper meaning, and of course we would hear the story of Christmas and what it meant and those types of things, and I grew up with those stories. But as I got older, I realized that this is a memory of metaphoric meaning, and that there's more to the story. And of course we grew up with the Christ image, the Christ in me greets the Christ in you, and everybody has that Christ light within them. And being in the Spiritualist Church, it wasn't always the traditional story. There was always more to it. There's a deeper meaning. And every year I would hear ministers bring their influence into the Christmas story. Well, I'm going to bring us to modern day. As this wonderful group of elves came in and showered the space with Christmas decorations, and we thank all of you for doing that, and this beautiful tree. I think Trish called it a pencil tree, which I think it's amazing, and I think my parents would have appreciated that. But what I was drawn to was the nativity back on the table. The nativity sat up. And I got to thinking about what's on there. Of course, there's the manger scene, and it's got the little wooden box. And then it has Mary and Joseph and the baby Jesus in the manger, and the animals, and the three kings. And I'm looking at it and saying, those three animals represent the first three chakras in our system. And then it's like the divine masculine, the divine feminine, and the Christ in our heart. And then we have the three magi, the gift givers, through the throat, the brow, and the crown chakra. And that angelic presence bringing the messages through is our individuation point, that point where our auric field touches universal consciousness. So, of course, I had to do some research, and I went deeper. And I want to introduce the sheep that little lamb at the root. Because that's us being a part of a group where we've come in and we're innocent in what our new world would be. Whether you believe in past lives or not and reincarnation, that's up to you. But just knowing that we come in innocently here to do some work. But we try to fit in. We want to be just like everybody else, so we're herded in like sheep and we're protected. As we grow, right? As we move into that next aspect of ourselves. Because then, I thought this was so cool. There's the story of the proud donkey who carried Mary into Jerusalem, into Bethlehem rather, for that expected birth. But the donkey helps us move, is the weight bearer that moves us from us being who we think we are out into the world. The second chakra, that sacral chakra, moves us out into the world. And so we kind of figure things out. And so we're shifting and we take on a different type of burden of ourselves and we see ourselves differently, but still we're moving. And still that birth hasn't taken place. If you recognize, Mary was still heavy with child. And as they're offered into this place of the barn, where the manger scene takes place, we have the cows mooing. We have the ox. These also are burden animals, but they also are ones who show the strength of ourselves in the world. Our solar plexus, we've moved with these animals in an animalistic aspect up through our energy centers, up to becoming ourselves. And when we begin to shift that energy and we become that strong, moving forward force in our own lives, and we are very conscious of shifting up into our heart, that's where we meet our Christed selves, our soul selves, or who we are, who we truly are. And that is no accident, because that's going to blend and help us shift even further. Because we haven't even received our gifts. Our biggest gift is just recognizing ourselves. Recognizing ourselves as a beautiful light that's come into this space. Our heart selves, our expansion. This is moving from the darkness into the light. The gifts of the Magi are very, very important. And I remember one of the ministers talking about this back in the day, but I wanted to get some more insight, because the gifts were gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And they relate to the throat, to the brow, and to the crown. And you probably already know where I'm going with this. But myrrh sits in the throat. It is the essence used for the death of something. It is that cleansing, energetic crystal, energetic fluid of like preservation but letting go. It's part of death. It's used in the death process in the old ways of doing things, and right now the ancient ways of doing things. And myrrh, I'm going to use these words. Myrrh is a prophetic suffering and burial. And the myrrh is infused with the anointing oil and was mingled with wine and offered to those upon their death. But it was also given to Jesus at his cradle, or us, in a point of anointing and understanding that we go through our own personal death before we can still ascend higher. Myrrh says we have to cleanse before we go higher. And how do we cleanse? We cleanse with our words. We cleanse with our voice. We do our affirmations. We do our toning. We do the sound checks. We do this beautiful music that we have here and lift up our voice, because the only person that can speak for us is us. And then an advocate to bring voices to those who are no longer able to speak for themselves. See how we move from being individuated into a single individual out into, from our hearts up and out. Letting go of something that no longer serves us individually, but helps us become connected with the people around us, our voice. With the brow, we have the frankincense, also an anointing oil. And in most cultures, you use both frankincense and myrrh with another carrier oil for this blessing of anointing. And this says that frankincense is a priestly intercession. There's that God. So what do we think about our third eye? What do we think about this brow chakra? It is our priestly, but it's also our judge. Am I able to do this? Can I see this? Can I do this? Whatever. It speaks to whether I'm on the right side or the other side of something. And what is it that I need to correct? And it's where we have, because it's in our mind as well, it's where we look at where are my shadows and where can I find the light? What did I learn from this lesson? So it's again a letting go of what's been holding us back. And it's our thoughts. It's our own judgments. It's not recognizing or fully illuminating who we are. But so we bring that Christ energy, that light, up into our throat to speak those sounds and those affirmations so that we can move it into how we see and view ourselves and expand, as we call it, the psychic abilities, or that connection, not with people, but the energy of the space around us. Moving into that priest or that elevated space. Gold, the crown chakra. Is it any wonder that the majority of crowned people have a gold crown, or that the light or the halo surrounding those beautiful religious images, it's that gold halo. We were told that that is our field. Everybody's got their energetic field. It's their auric field. That's what we were told when I was a kid. And, that's Jesus's field. It was pure. That's Mary's field. It was pure. It was the saints. It was pure. But notice also it's the same as the sun. It's that brightness of light shining through us. The sun, the purifier, gold, the value of purification, the value of the light within us. And we take that golden light, and if we are in those practices that take us to expand beyond what we're doing here in this physical body, we imagine and can see, sense, and acknowledge that light moving from our heart, through our throat, up through our brow, through our crown, and it touches that point. We call it that individuation point. That point, that angelic point, that is that threshold into divine consciousness. So in the message of the Nativity Creche, we find our own inner development, our own growth as a reminder. And here traditionally we celebrate in the winter part. We're going into the solstice. Isn't it kind of amazing that now we get to take that metaphoric story and expand as we are in our own personal time of where the light is not long for the day. We have our time of introspection. I don't want to say it's darkness because it's night. It's not, because what do? We illuminate our houses, we illuminate our homes, we try to bring the light in. But in introspection, what is it that we can take from this Nativity Creche example? Going inside. And what does that mean for you? And when we get to that point and that burst of energy, Christmas Eve, the magic, when we hit that pinnacle, we burst out with our gifts. Is that truly the saint, the Claus of life? Santa Claus bursts forth with all of the gifts that we've been waiting for. The magic of waking up in the morning when the light is new, and the gifts, the things that we have asked for, are distributed all around us. And they could be little gifts, or they could be large gifts. Whatever it is, the magic of Christmas comes from within you. You are the magic of the rebirth, the birth of Christ within you. You are the universal language of Christ, of the light. You are constantly connected. You're never separated. Never, ever. And when a community comes together like this and we're listening to the same message, but we're applying it individually, we are sending that frequency out into the universe, out into our communities, connecting us with the light. Let your light shine brightly. So from little 6-year-old wild imaginings and the beauty of a nativity creche, we honor this time of quiet and peace, this holy time, a time for us to become holy. And then we work within our own universal consciousness to expand the light of humanity and to send it into those spaces as spoken of earlier. That is connection to humanity that is so raw and beautiful. When we can speak of losing people that we don't even know, and we mourn them because our soul knows that they were here. So we honor each and every one on either side of that situation, because there's something that needs to move forward, that light. So let us again send light into those spaces, not only affected because lives were lost, but those that were affected because they were a part of making those changes. Their light is just as important in this space as those lives that were lost. And we thank God and Spirit and energy, our angels, our healers, and peace within us, that we can move through these changes that are coming. Because honestly and truly, you are the light of this world. Thank you.